Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. We are going to learn about the journey of Hyundai Motors. This will be simple and easy to understand journey of Hyundai Motors, perfect for practicing your English listening. Let's get started. In the wake of Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule in 1945, the country was battered and poor, still reeling from decades of exploitation. Yet in the midst of this despair, a visionary man named Chung Ju-young emerged, armed with little more than determination, mechanical aptitude, and a dream that seemed far too large for the divided, war-torn Korean peninsula. Chung was born in 1915 in a poor farming village in North Korea. As a boy, he had already tasted the hardship of life. His family raised rice and barely managed to survive. At a young age, Chung ran away to the city multiple times, driven by a desire to escape poverty and achieve something greater. Each time he was dragged back by his family, until finally, his persistence prevailed. He made his way to Seoul, determined to build a future not just for himself but for Korea. In 1947, Chung founded the Hyundai Engineering and Construction Company. It started modestly, repairing cars and trucks for the US military stationed in South Korea. Hyundai, which means modernity in Korean, was chosen to symbolize the company's ambition to drive Korea forward into a modern age. Although Hyundai was initially a construction firm, Chung saw the road ahead more clearly than most. He envisioned an independent Korea powered by its own industries, especially automobiles. Korea had no car manufacturers, and imported vehicles dominated the streets, too expensive and too foreign for local consumers. Chung saw this as a challenge and a call to action. Throughout the 1950s and early 60s, Hyundai engineering grew rapidly. The Korean War, 1950 to 1953, devastated the country, but rebuilding efforts created immense demand for construction. Hyundai took on major government contracts, from roads and bridges to dams and factories. Chung was known for his hands-on leadership and fearless decision-making. His company became the cornerstone of South Korea's national reconstruction. By the mid-1960s, Chung had transformed Hyundai into one of Korea's most powerful construction companies. But he wasn't satisfied. He believed that the future lay in industrial self-reliance. And the car would be the symbol of that ambition. The time had come to launch Korea's first domestically produced automobile. But the idea was considered crazy. Korea had no steel industry to support car manufacturing, no skilled labor for automobile assembly, no technology, no foreign investment. Most banks refused to lend money for such a risky venture. Still, Chung pressed on. In 1967, he founded Hyundai Motor Company. It was an audacious move, but one that reflected Chung's core belief: we must build what others are afraid to try. He recruited engineers from abroad, including a key group of British experts led by George Turnbull, a former executive from Austin Morris in the UK. Their mission: to help Korea develop its first car from scratch. The Korean government, under President Park Chung-hee, supported Chung's vision as part of a national push for industrialization. Loans, tax incentives, and trade protections were granted to give Hyundai a chance to succeed. Hyundai's first project would not be a simple assembly of foreign kits. Chung wanted a Korean car, built by Korean hands. And so, the journey began toward what would eventually become Korea's most iconic brand. After Hyundai Motor was established in 1967, the company set to work on building its first car. Chung Ju-young wanted not just an assembly operation but a fully Korean-designed vehicle. He enlisted the help of George Turnbull, a British car executive who brought with him 5 other engineers from the UK to work in Seoul. Hyundai formed partnerships with foreign suppliers for engines and transmissions, particularly Mitsubishi of Japan, and Turnbull helped create a compact car that was affordable and suitable for Korean roads. Design came from Ital-Design Giugiaro, a top Italian designer, while the chassis was based on the Ford Cortina. This international collaboration birthed the Hyundai Pony, launched in 1975, the first Korean car ever built. Though it used foreign parts, it was assembled and partly engineered in Korea. The Pony immediately captured public imagination. For the first time, ordinary Koreans could own a car made by their countrymen. The government supported Hyundai by promoting domestic car usage and offering subsidies. Demand skyrocketed. The Pony became more than a car. It was a national symbol of pride, a turning point in Korea's journey to becoming a modern industrial nation. After success in Korea, Hyundai looked abroad. In 1976, the Pony was exported to Ecuador, marking Hyundai's first international foray. Then came Belgium, the Netherlands, and eventually Canada in 1983. By the mid-80s, Hyundai had become the largest car maker in Korea. However, exporting meant facing tougher standards. The Pony was affordable, but its quality was often questioned. Western markets were competitive, with established players like Toyota, Ford, and Volkswagen. Despite criticism, Hyundai's sales grew rapidly. By 1985, they had exported over 100,000 vehicles. Hyundai began preparing for the world's biggest auto market, the United States. Meanwhile, Chung Ju-young diversified the Hyundai Group into shipbuilding, steel, electronics, and finance. His empire helped fuel Korea's economic miracle. In 1986, Hyundai entered the US market with the Hyundai Excel, priced at under $5,000. American consumers were intrigued. Here was a brand new car, stylish and incredibly affordable. In its first year, Hyundai sold 168,000 Excels in the US, a record for a newcomer. By 1988, that number exceeded 260,000. Hyundai looked unstoppable. But there was a problem: quality. Buyers soon found that Hyundai cars suffered from poor durability, weak engines, and rust. The company had prioritized price over performance, and it was hurting the brand. Resale values plummeted. Jokes about Hyundai's reliability spread across late-night TV. The brand's image tanked. Still, Hyundai took note of the criticism. Chung's successors began investing in R&D, quality control, and design. The company knew that success in the long run meant playing by global rules. The 1990s were difficult for Hyundai. The Asian financial crisis of 1997 devastated Korean companies. Hyundai had to restructure, sell off divisions, and fight to stay alive. Meanwhile, competition from Japanese and American cars made the US market tougher than ever. But Hyundai didn't retreat. They introduced longer warranties, including the famous 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, which helped win back trust. Hyundai also invested billions in its own technology, finally moving away from dependency on Mitsubishi. New models like the Elantra and Sonata showed marked improvements in safety, performance, and styling. Hyundai also opened its first U.S. manufacturing plant in Alabama in the late 90s, solidifying its long-term commitment to America. The 2000s were Hyundai's renaissance. Hyundai Motor became a standalone company, distinct from the broader Hyundai Group, and operated with autonomy and focus. Under Chairman Chung Mong-koo, son of founder Chung Ju-young, Hyundai emphasized quality, design, and customer satisfaction. Plants were opened in India, China, Turkey, and the US. R&D centers appeared across Germany, Japan, and California. Hyundai cars like the Sonata, Santa Fe, and Tucson gained ground. Reviews improved. Awards came in. Hyundai moved from being a budget brand to a serious competitor. By 2010, Hyundai had become the fifth largest automaker in the world, a stunning reversal from its earlier reputation. The launch of Genesis, a luxury division, signaled Hyundai's bold ambitions. It now wanted to compete with BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz. With solid footing in the market, Hyundai focused on the future. They hired top global talent, including designers like Peter Schreier, formerly of Audi. Hyundai's cars became not only reliable but visually striking. Models like the Sonata and the Elantra won multiple design awards. They also pushed forward in green technologies. Hyundai was among the first to offer hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. The Hyundai Ioniq lineup was introduced to rival Toyota Prius and Tesla. Sales surged. Hyundai focused on offering value without sacrificing performance, tech, or aesthetics. With a sharp brand identity, excellent warranty, and bold design, it was no longer seen as just an affordable car company. Hyundai spun off Genesis as a full-fledged luxury brand in 2016, competing directly with Lexus, Audi, and BMW. Genesis sedans like the G70, G80, and G90 were lauded for luxury, design, and technology at a competitive price. Simultaneously, Hyundai launched the N Performance line, offering sporty variants like the i30N and Veloster N, bringing excitement to enthusiasts. Hyundai continued expanding globally, becoming a key player in emerging markets like India, Russia, and South America. It invested heavily in mobility, AI, and autonomous driving technologies. Despite global economic uncertainty, Hyundai's brand reputation climbed higher than ever. As the world shifted towards sustainability, Hyundai positioned itself at the forefront of the electric vehicle (EV) revolution. The launch of Ioniq 5 in 2021, built on Hyundai's new eGMP platform, stunned the world. With ultra-fast charging, bold retro-futuristic design, and competitive range, it was declared Car of the Year in several countries. This was followed by the Ioniq 6 and plans for Ioniq 7, establishing Hyundai as one of the world's leading EV innovators. Hyundai also invested in hydrogen fuel cell technology with the NEXO, while collaborating on flying taxis, robotaxis, and even acquiring Boston Dynamics, makers of robotic dogs, for its future mobility vision. Hyundai was no longer just a car company. It was a tech and mobility giant. In 2024 and beyond, Hyundai aims to lead the global mobility revolution. It plans to become carbon neutral by 2045, with a lineup that is 100% electric or hydrogen-powered. The company is investing billions in robotics, AI, autonomous vehicles, and urban air mobility. Hyundai's mobility hubs, smart factories, and digital twins show its commitment to merging manufacturing with the digital age. With the Ioniq lineup, Genesis luxury EVs, hydrogen-powered trucks, and global R&D centers, Hyundai's reach now spans across industries and continents. From a small repair shop in post-war Korea to a global leader in innovation, Hyundai's story is one of relentless ambition, fearless risk-taking, and transformation. It is no longer trying to catch up, it is leading the race into the future. The end. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe.